Calcutta from the same area, which no, let's say working there for a few decades, and he has been engaged a lot of in educational activities and is well read of Gandhi. And I think now towards the end we try to again become more general and focused on this idea, like how do we get to the direction, because I think the direction by and large, there's a lot of commonalities, and then what would be really helpful is to think of ways that how we move on. So far, you have
Good evening, friends. It's difficult for me. Firstly, I have no solutions. And secondly, I am afflicted with a disease, the cure of which I am going to talk about. And to speak in a language which one is not really comfortable with, I can speak, as you can see. But to express complex thoughts has always been difficult for me in a language other than my own. But I'll try. I started my work about 26 years ago, and this was in the Himalayas. I started with schools at the demand of the villagers in that area. And after a few years of working, maybe a year or two, the elderly women of the village, and even men, but mostly women, who were above 50, 55, when they became friends with us, they started saying that you are ruining our children through this education. After getting educated, within quotes, they start feeling they are some kind of a superior being, and they start looking down upon us as inferior, looking down upon their parents and grandparents who are actually feeding them with their own labor. And they said they are neither here nor there. So we, in the beginning, of course, coming from an urban, middle-class background, slightly English educated, we only heard them, we did not listen to them. But after a point of time, one started noticing that what these women were saying was true. And one didn't know what to do. Should we close down our schools? Should we just stop doing what we were doing? And we said, no, that's not the way. But we didn't know what to do. We were in this is a conflict, a dilemma. About that time, someone, a person I consider my guru, he asked me a very simple question, said, have you read Mahatma Gandhi? Had he asked me, had the question been posed as, do you know Mahatma Gandhi? I would have said yes. But he asked me a very pointed question, a very simple question, have you read Mahatma Gandhi? Not about Mahatma Gandhi, but Mahatma Gandhi himself. And I had to think, and I said, no, not really. I have read his quotes, but I have not read him. So he persuaded me to buy the entire collected works of Mahatma Gandhi, 100 volumes in English and 100 volumes in Hindi, because he said, don't read translations. Translations are never good. Read the original stuff. So what he has spoken in Hindi, read in Hindi. If spoken in English, then read in English. And he suggested that I read him between 1915 and 1926-28, that period, because that is the time when he's really speaking without having to make any kind of compromise, without having to think what his colleagues in Congress and outside Congress will think. So he says what he has to say. And one thing that I realized after reading him was, I understood my problem in the field, what these women were saying. Because Mahatma Gandhi said, this education, and it's true even now, this so-called education has alienated us. The distance between our school and our homes have become wider with this education. So we speak a different language in the school and in international forums. I'm really disturbed about the fact that we don't have any translation from a language from the southern countries in this international conference. It's never been. So I've been to 2 or 3 and I've never found and no one being even apologizing about it. I'm not trying to say anything. I'm just saying that we need to be a little more sensitive. Because then, you know, the kind of world that we come from, the worldview seems to be different. Of course, we are all corrupted. Like I said in the beginning, that we are afflicted with the disease. So we have become corrupted, but still there are some elements still there, which can only come out when you can speak in our language. So Mahatma Gandhi says the school and homes have become very far apart. They've got alienated from each other. We speak a different language in school, different language at home. We wear different kind of clothes in school. We wear different kind of clothes at home. We sit in a different way in the school. We sit in a different way in school. Everything is different. And psychologically, this has an impact on the school-going children because they start feeling they are inferior. They are not good enough. Because their homes is so different from what is being taught. The cultural values which the school represents is so very different from the cultural values of home, and psychologically the child has already accepted the fact whether he is good in studies or not good in studies, that school is superior. So this creates a kind of a deep scar in the psyche which I think people from the West will have a hard time understanding what it does to some people like us who come from a colonized country, what damage it has done to us psychologically. We are always apologetic. We are always diffident. We are always self-conscious. And we try to cover it up with different things, with language, with mannerisms, stuff like that. Having said that, when I started reading Mahatma Gandhi, what I have understood, I'd like to share that with you. And I would encourage my friends here that you should at least read one book of his, which is Hind Swaraj, in which he has deconstructed and critiqued modernity. He calls it modernity. You call it growth. I still feel modernity is a better word. Like Bhuvan said just before me, that growth, at least in our civilization, vriddhi, growth, is a good word. Plants grow, trees grow. So growth is a good word. And when I was reading Mahatma Gandhi, I started looking at the word growth. And I started looking at the word development. He has never ever used these two words without a prefix. It is going, if he uses development, he prefixes it by saying physical development, spiritual development, economic development, like that. But never development as a stand-alone, as an adjective all alone. He's not used it. Or a noun all alone. He has not used it. That is important. Because today, this word, development more than growth, has got imprinted on all the minds, even in those communities that I work. In 25 years, I see there's a sea change. Children who went to school no longer want to do farming. They all want to drive taxis or get a government job. That's their aspiration. Because taxi is a machine.